What?
whereas Europeans tend to use all of theirs. I guess Americans
India,
just
we
can't
use
bring
more than
this
More
up
than
into
that,
the
yeah.
office
Yes.
while there's still work to be done.
Hey guys, it's the Loud Guys. Today we are going to react to things Americans do that confuses the rest of the world. And this video looks very interesting because what are those things that Americans do that confuses the rest of the world? Like we saw a video where it was shown that like the weird facts about Americans and like how they do it, how they deal with small things, like the bathroom door was so up and all those things. So I am told that this video has some more different weird things that Americans do that confuse the rest of the world. So I'm very excited to
Do
see.
you even think that even Indians do some things that confuses other people?
Yes, I think so. Eating with hands.
That should not be confusing, but
That is because like they all the Americans and Spanish and all the French people like eat with spoon only, and we only eat with
Okay,
hand.
yeah.
Like we also use spoons a lot, but the thing is we also prefer hands. And in
Yeah.
South India, like they majorly eat with hands only. So this is one type of thing. And
yes,
then
even
one
we have
thing.
seen that video which shows that interesting facts or weird facts about USA, and in that video we have seen a lot of things which were for us it was like, oh, is that even possible, or do this happens over there? So yeah, now let's watch it out. What are the things like Americans do which confuses us, and maybe will not get confused. So let's watch it out.
Also, if you guys are new to this channel, you can subscribe to our channel and also join our channel and become our Patreon member. So let's watch this video.
The United States of America is the land of the free, the home of the brave, and also the home to a lot of weird stuff that most other countries don't do. This former British colony has truly grown up to be its own quirky person. The following 10 things tend to confuse non-Americans, and you can find non-natives of the US of A discussing them all across the internet.
And those things are
Number 10. Tipping. America
Tipping.
definitely isn't the only country in the world where tipping is a common practice.
India also it
in
is a common
fact, if you're
practice.
curious about
But
what
not-
jobs get tipped in what countries,
But not
there's a
compulsory,
website
yeah.
called whototip.net that
Oh,
breaks
website.
down the tipping customs of the world.
Tipping it.
But
Oh.
America is certainly the country where tipping is the most prevalent.
I
In
didn't
most
knew about
countries and
this website.
cultures around the world,
Because we are
tipping
not
is
in
simply
America.
an optional charge should you feel your server deserves to be rewarded for their efforts. However, in America, you should always give a tip of around 10 to 20%,
Yeah.
especially at restaurants. Tipping is a big part of American culture, which seems odd to outsiders. People may dislike tipping, but it's probably here to stay. In America, the unspoken system is that
French
food
fries,
prices in
I
restaurants
love.
are lower than they should be because tips allow the restaurant to pay their waitstaff less. They can then charge you less for food. At least that's what you can try telling your friend the next time he doesn't want to contribute to the tip at a restaurant because he recently saw Reservoir Dogs. While a lot of people argue that tipping is a good thing because it increases the quality of service you receive, this isn't actually true. Cornell University published a study that revealed the real reason people tip, more or less, is basically random. And customers who receive great service tip on average just 1% more than those who don't. Lots of people around the world look at America and ask, why not pay service workers a normal amount
Yes,
of money
yes.
and just make the food more expensive? Number 9. Have few vacation days. Americans don't go on vacation as much as the rest of the world
Oh,
does.
really?
On average, we're given only 12 vacation days by our work, as opposed to Europeans who get between 25 and 30. Perhaps more interesting is the fact that Americans on average only use 10 of their 12 given vacation days,
What?
whereas Europeans tend to use all of theirs. I guess Americans
India,
just
we use
can't
more
bring
than
this
vacation
into
days.
the
Yeah.
office
Yes.
while there's still work to be done. And while it may suggest Europeans are lazy, according to a mounting body of research, it's actually counterproductive
Yes.
not to take a vacation.
need
As
vacations.
breaks help us rejuvenate,
Every time.
increasing our productivity over time. Not only that, when us Americans do go on vacation, we also travel less internationally than citizens of most other countries. But that may be related to our limited number of vacation days. 12
But
days
there are
just
many
doesn't
scenic
allow
places
for
in
an
America, as I've
international
seen.
trip as well as 30 does, as the time and cost of travel to international destinations is so great. According to the Department of Commerce, American international travelers spent 42% of the cost of their entire trip simply on the travel to and from their destination. It's then not too surprising that most Americans don't even have a passport. Only
What?
42% of US
What?
citizens own a passport, whereas 76% of English citizens do. That means
That
at
is very
least
strange.
58% of Americans haven't even left the US, as you need a passport to travel. To the rest rest of the world, this is an odd
This is
characteristic
actually
of
very
such
odd.
a prosperous nation. While it's partly due to limited vacation days, it may also be because Americans lack the desire to travel as much as the rest of the world. Number 8. Food preferences. When you go to a restaurant in America,
Don't
you're probably
show
going to get a
food like
lot
this. I
of
want to
food,
have
at
french
least a
fries
lot
now.
more than most other nations would serve. It's a popular topic of discussion amongst non-Americans
Okay, so
online.
there are bigger
Many
portion
European
sizes in
tourists
America.
admit they would frequently just order one
this?
item off the menu and share it
Big
with
Mac.
another person. America does it big, and for non-Americans, the size options at fast food
Look at
restaurants
the baby.
perfectly illustrate this. Take a look at this image by a Japanese citizen in 2011,
Oh.
comparing the sizes of McDonald's drinks in America versus Japan. The medium Japanese cup is the exact same size as the small American
We have the
cup,
Japanese
and
size
the
only.
American
Yeah.
medium cup is larger than the
Oh my
Japanese
God.
large. But McDonald's is on the small size. Here are the small sizes at a number of vendors, showing
Oh.
just how much larger a small cup is in America. While many around the world like to joke about how it proves Americans are fat, the truth is a lot of them take away their leftovers in carryout boxes to eat throughout the week.
What?
Still, American food is vastly different to food found in the rest of the world. For one, non-Americans are, on the whole, less obsessive about peanut butter.
want to eat.
Brian Sternthal, a professor of marketing at Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management, has said that in many parts of the world, peanut butter is regarded as unpalatable American curiosity. For example, according
You
to
like peanut butter?
Statista, Americans
Little
eat
bit.
a kilogram
I
of
don't
it
like
per
it at all.
year, compared to 100 grams eaten per person per year in Europe.
Oh my
That's
God.
10 times the amount Europeans eat. Other American food anomalies that have confused Europeans include comparatively small fruit and vegetable aisles full of fruits and vegetables that will cost you a lot more than they would across the Atlantic, as well as an overabundance of highly processed sweet and salty foods, and so-called cheese that can be sprayed out of a can. Number 7. College
College
sports.
sports.
In America, college sports are almost
Yeah,
as
that is
popular
very
as
unique.
professional sports. In some areas, they're actually more popular. People will have barbecues outside of stadiums
Wow.
for hours before the games start, paint their faces, and hate on rival academic institutions. College athletics are taken just as seriously by the fans, who don't care that the players aren't as good as the pros and aren't even getting paid. This may be baffling to our neighbors, but there is an explanation for this American
Why?
pastime
Wha-
of
what is
watching
it?
what are literally amateur games. Unlike most fun-sized European countries, America is massive. There are lots of places that just aren't anywhere near a major city where you could go and see a professional team play. Colleges are the next best thing, and there's bound to be one of them nearby at
Oh,
least. College
so
football
that
and
is a good
basketball
reason.
also actually predate those sports' professional leagues, so
like
college
watching your
athletics
city's
culture has
cricket
been
matches.
around forever. Number 6. Prescription drug commercials. Non-Americans who travel to the U.S. are often surprised to find that there are advertisements for prescription drugs on regular television. You can't go and buy them from stores, so the commercials urge viewers to ask their doctor about them. In
How is that
2016,
possible?
Kantar Media, a firm that tracks multimedia advertising, reported that nearly 800,000 prescription drug advertisements were aired on television, which was a 65% increase from just 4 years prior. Basically, the reason these commercials don't exist in other countries is because they aren't legal in other countries. In fact, the only other country where these kinds of commercials exist is New Zealand. The U.S. pharmaceutical industry is huge.
But why is that?
It
Why
generated
would you allow
$425
prescription
billion
drugs to be
in
promoted?
2015. If they're allowed to advertise, of course they're going to. And it works. Direct-to-consumer advertised drugs tend to sell better than drugs that aren't. But they're controversial, and it seems the reason America allows them comes down to our free speech protections under the First Amendment. Governments of most countries around the world think they're dangerous, and the research suggests they're not wrong. Even the American Medical Association has called for a ban on them, as these advertisements have been proven by studies to broaden the scope of who gets treated with prescription drugs. They also lead to patients being influenced to take newer, less effective drugs that often cost more. For example, Vioxx, which was later withdrawn as it caused life-threatening side effects such as increasing the risk of heart attack and strokes. Number 5.
That is so dangerous.
Soccer. America, of course, isn't the only country that plays soccer, but we are one of the only countries that calls the game you play with your feet
Soccer, yeah.
and the one
It
you
is
play
football.
with your hands football. We stand with countries like Australia, Korea, South Africa, and Italy in not calling the sport football. Understandably, it confuses most of the world. So, what is the origin of this counterintuitive name?
Yes.
Soccer is an abbreviation of association. which came from
Soft.
association football, the official name for the game. The suffix was added as a common jocular slang term of the time. The reason the
soccer.
name is stuck is because American football developed in the mid-19th century, evolving from the British game of rugby. Back then, rugby was loosely known as football, but it was often called rugby to make the distinction. All these sports were about moving the ball forward, but as the game developed across the pond, Americans developed different rules about how you were allowed to do it and what you could wear. The most popular rule set in England ended up being the one where you can only use your feet. And the most popular rule set in America ended up being the one where you get to smash into each other. Hence why the two totally different sports have the same names in the two
Football.
countries. Number 4. Not including sales tax. Wherever there's
Ah,
a
yeah, I
discussion
saw
of
that.
American sales tax on the internet, you can find non-Americans telling their tales of being shocked at the final price because they didn't realize that sales tax wasn't
$170
included.
subtotal
In
and
most
$50
countries, the
sales
price
tax.
tag on an item includes the part you have to pay to the government, so they can build roads and other things. But not here in the US. This is because sales tax in America can vary by county. So something
7%,
could cost a
8%.
slightly different amount just a mile away. There are also very specific laws about what gets sales taxed. For instance, if you order coffee to go, there will not be sales tax in California. But if you sit down in the cafe and eat a donut, you will have to pay sales tax.
Oh.
Essentially, with all these rules, it becomes difficult to put things on a price
One
tag.
would prefer
Number
to sit
3,
and have donut.
not using the metric system.
Metric
The
system, that
United
is the
States of
worst.
America has no need
Why
for
don't they use that,
universally
man?
accepted and logical measurement systems because Thomas Jefferson said so. In 1790, when the metric system was being developed, he simply decided not to bring it to America. So it didn't happen. America, Liberia, and Myanmar are the only countries in the world
Only
that use
three
the imperial
countries do
system.
this.
Liberia uses the same units that America does, and Myanmar is a bit of a mess. They use a combination of their own totally unique
Oh my
Burmese
God.
measuring units,
Sanchi,
American
Nan,
imperial
Myan,
units,
Leti.
and metric units. So they may have the distinction of being the only country with a bigger headache when it comes to this than America. But surely now that Thomas Jefferson is long dead, we could just switch over,
Yeah,
right?
America
Well,
should.
it isn't that simple. It would
What?
cost a lot of money to switch over the country's whole infrastructure to the metric system now that the US already uses their own unique imperial system. The closest the US has gotten is that today, in US schools, kids learn about both the imperial
That
and
is
metric
nice.
system. So most of us do have a basic understanding of how the metric system works, even if we never really use it. Even if you buy a measuring tape in the US, it will have both imperial and metric units on it. Throughout American history, there have been various attempts to reform the system and switch over, but none have succeeded. It
Oh.
would seem as though Thomas Jefferson's wish for an extra special system shall live on
Thomas
for the
Jefferson
foreseeable
did it.
future. It hasn't come without its consequences, though, as this confusion has
Oh my
led to
God.
enormous mistakes, like the Mars orbiter that was lost by NASA because of a metric system mix-up. Number 2. Month before the day.
Yeah,
the
even
United
that
States
too.
is
I've
the
seen
only
this.
country that,
Confusing.
when
Actually,
writing
it's
out the date,
confusing.
puts the month before the day. And it seems
Like
to
Americans say
extremely
it's
aggravate
9/11,
the rest
but
of
it's
the world.
11/9
Most other
actually.
countries write the day, then the month, then the year. The majority of countries and most of Europe and South America do it this way.
Hmm.
It seems logical as the units of time are then in order from smallest to largest.
Yes.
Also seemingly logical is how the date is written in China and Japan, which is year, month, day, or
That is
largest to
also fine.
smallest.
Yeah.
No issues.
So why do we format time like this?
Why?
Well, unfortunately, there's no widely accepted answer as to why this is the case. The month-day-year order was used in Britain in the 1800s, but why we chose to keep it when Britain ceased to do so is something of a historical mystery. The best guess is likely that the order reflects how Americans say dates verbally. An American would be more likely to say that it's January 1st more than they would be likely to say
First
the
January.
1st of January. Our notation then could simply be a way of writing out what would be the most conversational. Number 1. Having a drinking age of 21.
Whoa.
A 20-year-old European may be in for a shock when they fly to the US and discover
India, it
that
is
they can
25
no longer legally
in many
drink
states.
alcohol. While you may already know about this peculiar
In some
American
states, it
practice,
is
what
21.
you may not know is why it is the case. In 1984, the U.S. passed a law called the Drinking Age Act. It stated that if a state did not create a minimum drinking age of 21, they would lose up to 10% of their federal highway funding. The states all took the hint and made the drinking age 21. But why 21? Well, America has a long and storied past with alcohol, including prohibition. Lawmakers didn't just pick the number out of a hat. It dates back centuries to Old English common law, which states a person becomes a full adult aged 21.
What?
At which age a person could, among other things, vote and become a knight. Still, as shown
Become
by
a
this
knight?
map, the U.S. is one of just a few developed countries to have a minimum legal drinking age over 18. In fact, in some countries like Belgium and Germany, 16-year-olds are allowed to purchase alcohol. Alcoholic or not, if you order a drink in America, you're probably going to get it with a lot of ice. In most other countries, you just won't see the sheer quantity of ice that you'll get in your American beverage.
Oh my god.
Granted, you'll often get ice in your drinks in many European countries, but ice-cold beverages are the default option in America.
And that
Whereas lots
feels
of people
nice,
from other
tastes
countries
nice
don't
also.
have the same preference, and drinks aren't always served with ice. This cultural difference is frequently debated online. It could be because in some countries you shouldn't drink the tap water, which is where that ice came from, and in others it just isn't common to automatically have ice with a meal at a restaurant.
That was really a different video, an amazing video. And yeah, not everything confused me, but yes, actually one thing I liked it, that was they serve a large quantity of food in restaurants and cafes, because in India we find somewhere that the quantity is so low as compared to their price. But yeah, it's not the case over there, so that is a good thing, and it will be good even if it is accepted in India as well. And
It can also be counterproductive, like it can make you fat because they are giving more and more quantity of it and you have to drink more and more of it. It can also be good in some way possible, because if you drink one and if you want to add another, so you will not do that because you have a large quantity.
You have a large quantity.
But if one is enough for you, then I think so that small cup is good.
But here we can then take, if we want to eat more, then we can then take another plate of that, so it doesn't matter. And even they take it home. If it's left, then they take it home and eat there. So yeah, but yes, one thing actually confused me, that was why do they write their date as first month and then date and then year? Because even when we fill up some online forms, they asked us in American format, and then you have to be like alert, okay, this is that format, so we have to write first month and then date then year. So yeah, that was a confusing thing, but overall this video was actually kind of knowledgeable. And actually we have seen a lot of things before also, that the drinking age is 21 and about sales tax and everything. So yeah, it was an amazing video to watch.
And also, like in India, we say that America did everything opposite of what Britain did, and like whatever UK did, because in India was also a colony of Britain. So the thing is, like, we followed everything from Britain. Like Britain used to like drive on the left, so we drive on the left. Like the button pushes down and the switch is on, so that's what we did. But in America, everything is opposite to what UK did, and like if you press up the button, then only it switches
Yeah.
on. Then they drive on the right and everything. Then there is a plug, like UK plug and US plug. So there are different plugs also. So that is the kind of difference that we see all around the world, and like mainly in USA, because USA had made sure that no colonization in our country as much as possible. And the thing was that pizza size was so big, and I've seen in many shows, like there whenever they order pizza, the pizza size is very very big. Like in India, if like regular pizza is this much, medium is this much, large is maximum this much.
Yes.
That's it. And in USA, I see a normal pizza is this size. So like people eat a lot and enjoy a lot.
Yeah.
And like they save it a lot, and then they eat for weeks. That he said that they continue eating for a week. So that I think so is not good for the health, because it just destroys the food and destroys the taste, because I think so the hot and the sour nature of
Yeah.
it can be enjoyed only if you take it at that point of time only. But this video showed us a lot of things that were very very interesting about the Americans. So how did you guys find this video? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
Subscribe to our channel.
bye.
Bye.